Hello and welcome back to another section of this vocal mixing class. We're looking at another song. This time it's not a rap hip hop song. It is actually one of my songs that I recorded. I'm the singer on this track. This was one of my bands, Motion Coaster, from a long time ago. We recorded this 2-3 years ago. We released it. It's out now. It's a really fun track. You can kind of tell that my favorite artist was Michael Jackson. Stevie Wonder is my favorite songwriter. You can kind of tell that's kind of where I have my roots in. We're just going to play the track. But first, before I get into this, I want to say that this session looks totally different from the stems that I'm sending you. The stems that I'm sending you are way fewer. Right now, we're looking at a session with 88 tracks. And this is not that. Don't worry. Do not be intimidated by this. I'm just pulling up the original session, so I'm going to pull that up right now. Okay, so you should be seeing the original session there. Look at that. That's pretty. It's got a lot of tracks in there. We're just going to listen from the second verse on. I've turned off the master bus, so everything is pretty quiet. That's fine, right? That's okay, right?
We can move ourselves together like two hearts fall into one. I like the way that you keep yourself together, 'cause I'm falling apart. Just you and me, I keep hoping. Keep on moving on. Feels like I'm falling. Yes, it feels like I'm falling. Feels like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping, no more stopping. Feels like I'm falling. Yes, it feels like I'm falling. Feels like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping, keep going, darling. Feels like I'm
All right, really cool song. Totally different genre. I think this is going to be perfect. This is going to be totally perfect for your mixing. You can practice this. So it's the same sort of thing. I want you to practice it. I want you to watch the video all the way through. See what I kind of did so you kind of get inspired. Then go back without referring back to my video again. I want you to try to mix it on your own. Again, I don't like the idea of step-by-step hand-holding. Like, my techniques are not set in stone. It's more of ideas, and it doesn't have to be these specific plugins. The idea is I want it to sound a specific way, and I wanted to give it a specific vibe, but that vibe is not created by specific tools. It's created by ideas and sounds that I'm hearing in my head. So in this case, let's start off with just the chorus here.
Yes, it feels like I'm falling.
So first things first.
But there's no more stopping, no more stopping. Yes, it feels like I'm falling.
Turning off all the effects there.
But there's no more stopping, keep going down.
Okay, and there's no more chance as well.
Yes, it feels like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping, no
So
more
I
stopping.
definitely recorded this on
Yes,
a
it feels like I'm falling.
dynamic microphone.
There's no more stopping, keep going down.
Let's take a look at, look at that.
It feels like I'm
So the way that I work, typically speaking, is I like to do some basic stuff. After I record the vocals or after the recorder's vocal, I like to put them in a bus and mix on the bus, not on the individual tracks, just so I don't have to use as many plugins, so it saves space on my computer. But the first thing that I did is turn on the autotune. Looks like I did, even with this song like this, I did a little bit of autotune.
Yes, it feels
Shout out
like
to
I'm
Antares.
falling.
I love the plugins. I love
But
autotune.
there's no more stopping, no more stopping. Yes, it feels
All right.
like I'm falling.
And on the individual tracks, before it goes into the bus,
But there's no more stopping.
it's like
keep
I
going
added a little bit of
on.
compression, just a little bit, on
Yes,
the
it
low
feels
octaves.
like I'm falling.
The low octaves.
But there's no
Because the fact of the matter is, all 4 tracks is going to go into the bus. So if I compress the bus, it's going to compress all 4 tracks together as a single instrument, as a single track. And I wanted the low end to be, the low volume to be controlled before it goes into the bus. Let's look at number 2. It looks like I did a little bit of EQ, cutting out a little bit of the lows.
Yes, it feels like I'm falling.
For both of those, it looks like copy and paste.
No more stopping, no more stopping.
And then adding some saturation with
Yes,
the decapitator.
it feels like I'm falling.
Let's hear what that sounds like before it goes into the bus.
But there's no more stopping.
So here's before,
Yes, it feels like I'm falling.
after.
But there's no more stopping, no more stopping. Yes, it feels like I'm falling.
So not much is happening yet. Now let's look at what we got going on here.
Yes, it feels.
And by the way, just my workflow, this is not the right answer. In fact, you probably do it way different. You should do whatever you're used to. But I like to EQ compress, do leveling, everything. I want to mix the song down typically, usually before I add any sort of effects like reverbs, delays, etc. Most of the time, like things I'm going to bust, like bust effects. Now, if there's going to be modulation, usually modulation is most of the time not bust for the way that I work. I put it directly onto the track. So if I do that, or if I'm super inspired, then I'll create the buses, the reverb bus right off the bat and just like put it in. But most of the time, I'm doing all that at the very end. So I'm not going to turn them on quite yet because I'm focused on the tone of the sound. That's just my workflow.
Yes, it feels like I'm falling.
Ooh, I'm thinning it out a lot.
But there's no more stopping,
Which in turn
no more
also turned down the
stopping.
volume a lot.
Yes, it feels like I'm falling.
By the way, these tracks I haven't looked at in years, so I have no idea what I did. Like we're looking at this together. I do not remember. Like I don't even use Neutron 2 anymore. So Neutron anymore as my main. I use FabFilter as my main parametric EQ now. But
Yes, it feels like I'm falling.
but first things first, it looks like
But there's no more
same
stopping,
concept as
no
the
more
last song.
stopping. Yes, it feels like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping, keep going, darling.
Okay, what about that? Then next was the
Yes, it feels like I'm falling.
I'm adding another dynamic.
But there's no more stopping, no more stopping. Yes, it feels like I'm falling.
Just squishing it a bit more.
But there's no more stopping, keep going, darling.
Looks like I added a little bit of a
Yes,
de-esser.
it feels like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping, no more stopping.
Here's that with everything.
Yes, it feels like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping, keep going, darling.
Much
Yes,
better.
It feels like I'm falling.
Now add a little bit.
But there's no more stopping, no more stopping.
Looks like I added a little slap,
Yes, it feels like I'm falling.
little plate.
But there's no more stopping, keep going, darling.
Looks like I added some
Yes,
extra
it feels
hall.
like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping, no more
The
stopping.
low octaves, I added some extra
Yes,
hall
it
and plate.
feels like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping, keep going, darling.
Before,
Yes, it feels like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping, no more stopping.
in reference, in context.
Yes, it feels like I'm falling. Feels like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping. Yes, it feels like I'm falling.
Before,
Feels like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping, no more stopping. Feels like I'm falling. Yes, it feels like I'm falling. Feels like
a lot thinner, but it fits in a little bit better, especially because I kind of want to keep that pop vibe even though it's a funk song. So it looks like I cut out a little bit of EQ. I'm not going to pull up the specific numbers. You can kind of guess from this. The point is, it looks like I did a little high pass. It looks like I did a 6-to-1. You can feel how it is. It's squishy. I made the attack slow and the release fast. It like tightens up the vocals with the compressor. Like it sounds good. And it looks like I even did a little bit of a parallel here within the plugin. This is the biggest game changer.
yes, it feels.
This one plugin made it.
Feels like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping, no more stopping.
That makes the song. That makes the track for me. Okay, let's take a look at another vocal track. Let's take a look at the feels like I'm falling.
Feels like I'm falling.
Ooh. Oh, there's another.
Feels like I'm falling. Feels like I'm falling.
Where's that going to?
Feels like I'm falling. Feels like I'm falling. Feels like I'm falling.
This is going to.
Feels like I'm falling. Feels like I'm falling.
Huh.
Feels
So
like
I guess that's just that. These tracks don't matter because I guess they're just backup tracks. But
feels like I'm falling.
okay, first thing I did is auto-tuned everything. I froze them.
Feels like I'm falling.
Little EQ.
Feels like I'm falling.
There's that dynamic EQ. I panned everything, so you can see all of my panning. Panned everything extreme. Don't half-ass the panning if you don't have to. No compression, it looks like, on this one. Feels good. Yeah, very minimal. I like that. There's another, let's look at the verses here. Because it looks like I did something different from the verse. Even though I went to the same bus as the chorus, it's like I did something different, so.
We can move ourselves together.
Ooh, I did an extra EQ. Oh, that's because it actually doesn't go to the bus. Let me expand this. I didn't make this, I made it go straight to the, so it's, let me see if it's similar. Ooh, it's similar to the hook. A lot of boosting at the high end. I'm going to be honest with you. The reason why I stopped using the neutron is because I do not like the sound of the high end. I love ozone, isotope. I never use it to boost the high end. I don't know why. It just doesn't sound right. It just sounds a little bit too digital. 11 to 76 for that tight compression. Fast release. Looks like it's maxing at about -5, but staying around -3 or less most of the time. The de-esser, very simple, 4 plugins. Try not to be complicated. And then effects. These oohs is just this. Little LA2A for the slow compression. Very simple. I'm not doing anything crazy, y'all. Okay, I have a rap verse on here. Oh, here it is.
Where we at? There's a feeling in the sky. Matter of fact, girl, you got me hypnotized.
Yo,
Getting
so
lunches,
simple.
Feeling hunches, screaming Japanese.
Yo,
got me
I'm not
feeling
doing anything
bonsai.
complicated
No
on
matter
this.
the instance, I fall down for you. No matter the distance, I'll never take a breather. You best believe in your heart I'm keeping. You
Bro, I'm blowing my own mind here because this is really simple. More simpler than I do things now. And it sounds good. Obviously, actually, let me tell you right now, this track was mastered by Chris Graham from Six Figure Home Studio. Chris Graham mastering. But it sounds good. Like, everything's blended. Let's see together now in context, and I'll turn everything off.
Move ourselves together like two hearts fall into one.
That nice, smooth, dark SM7B type sound.
Together, 'cause I'm falling apart. You and me, I keep hoping. Keep on moving on. Feels like I'm falling. Yes, it feels like I'm falling. Feels like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping, no more stopping. Feels like I'm falling. Yes, it feels like I'm falling. Feels like I'm falling. But there's no more stopping. Keep
So with a song like this, there's a lot of flexibility. You can actually add in more low end. But I'm kind of using the Michael Jackson techniques, the Bruce Sustine's technique, like the modern pop technique. If you listen to anything more indie, like, let's say, like Old Vampire Weekend or Fleet Foxes, because I love Fleet Foxes, or what's an album that I love? I Am Lovin' You by the Avett Brothers, right? If you listen to anything by those guys, there's a lot more low end, it's a lot more darker, there's not as much high end. Now that's just the vibe of the song. It's what it's calling for. And in reference to the instruments, those dark vocals are perfect. Now, with this, I mix the instrumentation, and I'm giving you the instrumentation the way that I mixed it, which is bright, which is smacking, which is more Michael Jackson style. Because of that, you're going to have to match the vibe. Again, enhance the vibe that the producer, in this case me, was going for. What was I going for? Listen to the instrumental track. How is the vocal supposed to fit to enhance the track? So take a listen to this one, download the stems, do your own mixing, change it up. Don't do exactly what I did. And then when you send it back to me for review, explain to me why you chose that, what you're trying to go for, and yeah, be proud of your work. There's no wrong answers here. The only wrong answer in mixing is anything that's distracting or degrading of the song. But degrading is very, there's no right answer. There's no, I mean, I guess the artist is always right, but in this case, I'm the artist, and I'm telling you that I did what I thought was best. Otherwise, for the sake of this practice, I'll be happy with whatever you send me, right? So show me what you want to do with this one. There's a lot of tracks with this one. Have fun with it. Stay in touch for the next episode.